Do you need batteries to go solar? This question comes up all the time when we're talking solar with homeowners. If you're an Arizona homeowner, the answer is no. You can go solar without storing any of your electricity on site. Now, you can do that, but what we've found is that most people do not go solar unless they're saving money monthly on their cost of what they were paying for electricity. So there is a program that's been put in place in Arizona for Arizona homeowners called net metering. What net metering is a program that your utility company buys back excess electricity from you and stores that extra electricity in the form of credits, and those credits can be used any point in the future in a given time period. Your solar will produce 24 hours worth of electricity in an 8-hour window, 8 to 10 hours. How that works is the electricity that the system produces will first power the needs of the house. Then the excess electricity will spin your meter backwards. Now, most meters are not the old spinning meters from the past. Most have updated to the digital. But what's happening is you can go out and look at your meter right now. It is ticking in one direction. What's cool is when you go solar, that arrow can then go the other direction, and the utility company is paying you for the excess electricity that your system produces. Now, most homeowners want to have electricity produced either on a south or west-facing roof. The reason south is the best is because we get as much sun as possible. The reason the west is the second best is because of the time of day that the utility company charges peak rates for the time of use, highest cost per kilowatt hour for the electricity. Let me show you what I mean. The cost of electricity is usually broken down in this form. Now, these numbers will change depending on which utility that you have, but usually there are at least 3 blocks of time that your electricity is produced. And let's say it's 3 to 8 p.m. for the peak rate of electricity. Now, a common price that we see is 24 cents a kilowatt hour for that electricity for the on-peak, and let's say 10 cents for the off-peak. What happens is your solar wants to produce as much of that power during these peak times as possible because that's when it's most expensive, and you don't want to have to get power from the utility company when it's really expensive. And so what we do is we position the panels in a way that they'll produce when you need power the most. And so therefore, getting rid of the cost of this very expensive electricity. Now, because you get 24 hours worth of production in just an 8-hour window, the excess electricity comes back to the utility, and right now the buyback rate is somewhere around 10 cents a kilowatt hour. The great thing is that the cost of the electricity when you're not using your solar is very comparable. And so the excess electricity that you send back to them comes back to them at 10 cents, and then you're using that at 10 cents. And so in most cases, you're getting somewhere around a 1-to-1 credit for your electricity. Now, utilities are different, and some this is applicable, and some that it's not as applicable. Now, what happens is those credits will build up over time. What can happen is that they can roll over from month to month. And so if we're looking at electricity in terms of an annual basis, so if this was January and this was December, if we were to look at the amount of electricity that you use, it might look something more like a bell curve, right? Because of the heat in Arizona, we use a lot of air conditioning, and you're going to have a spike during those summer months. Now, solar operates a little bit differently, though. You see that the most electricity is produced during the summer and the least during the winter time. But what will happen is you end up with an excess of electricity during some months and a deficit of electricity or credits in other months. And so what will happen is electricity that your system produces will carry over month, and these excess of credits can cover this deficit of credits here in the summer months. Now, at the end of the year, if you are positive in credits, then you can get a check or roll over to the next year, depending on what your utility does. And so this is how net metering works. And so that way you don't have to put on-site storage and be able to go solar for a lot less and have a lot more savings. So if you're interested in going solar and you want to understand more how this program works and how it would work on your home, call us and let us know if we can do that, or fill out the form below so one of our energy experts can contact you and see if solar would be a good fit for you and your family.